Time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Eve of a huge sports weekend, which starts tomorrow, involving teams from Eastern North Carolina, both the collegiate and high school level. Thanks for being with us here today. Patrick Johnson, big announcement as it pertains to Pirate football kick times. We'll get to that in a minute. Mike Mullis will join us from Conway or Myrtle Beach, where he'll be on the radio with Dylan Johnson tomorrow. 11:45 will be the airtime for East Carolina and Florida in the Conway Regional. And you can hear it, of course, on 94.3 The Game. 94.3thegame.com, the IBX Media app on the ECU Sports Network. That'll be at noon tomorrow, and then following that game tomorrow evening, scheduled right now for 5 o'clock. Weather pending, of course, is Rose and North Lincoln. It is game one of the best 2 of 3 series. If the Rampants win, well, actually, regardless, their game will be at 11 on Saturday. If ECU wins, they'll be on 94.3 The Game. If ECU loses tomorrow, the game will be moved for Rose, the 11 a.m. game, to 103.7 WTIB. So do note that. Coverage of the Rampants with Croft Massey and Nate Logan on the call is brought to you by the Gavigan Agency, First Bank, the law firm of Hardy, Massey, and Blodgett, Caraway Office Solutions, Wells Fargo Advisors in Greenville, the Tire Realty Group, Greenville Awning and Canopy, Orthopedics East, Sports Medicine, and Pitt County Schools. We talked to the legendary Ronald Vincent, RV, yesterday. You could go back and relive that on 94.3 The Game's Facebook page, also on the IBX Media app. All right. Also, D.H. Conley will begin their series tomorrow at 6 at Duke, East Campus. If you're going, not the main campus for Duke, but the East Campus, Duke's got their softball stadium there, and they are playing in the first round against South, or the final round, championship round against South Caldwell, the first game, 6 o'clock, and they would be scheduled to play their second game at 2, and then much like Rose, if there's a need for a third game in the series, it'll just depend on what the concurrent series at the location does, whether that would be at 5 or 8 Saturday. Let's hope our local teams don't get to that. We've also got Perquimans softball, Perquimans baseball. We've also got South Lenoir baseball and North Lenoir softball, some True East teams that are participating. Congrats to the Rose Rampants lacrosse team, girls lacrosse. They lost last night, but they made it to the semifinals of the state tournament. So a year in which they go 17-3. Congratulations to them. Croatan has advanced to the final round of the boys lacrosse tournament down at the coast. So good luck to the Cougars there. Always like it when the True East teams get East. All right, we look at some news that has been released today. East Carolina and the AAC, along with the television partner, the worldwide leader, ESPN, announcing 6 football game kickoff times for the fall and the designations for television. We, of course, knew that the game against NC State was going to be played on a Thursday, August 28th. It'll now be a kickoff time of 7 o'clock on the ACC network. That is the date there and the time, and again, an ACC network production that evening for ECU at NC State to kick off the season. The home opener for the Pirates will be Saturday the 6th. That is a 6 o'clock kickoff, and that'll be designated on ESPN+. The Week 3 trip to Coastal Carolina, also an ESPN Plus game, a 7:30 kickoff on that one. All the free concession stands you can muster there, folks. Remember that, as it's ECU's first ever trip to Conway for football. And then the Thursday night midseason run has been slotted. Primetime games, the Pirates will take on Army in Greenville on September 25th. No designated time yet for the BYU game, but September 25th, Army, 7:30 kickoff in Greenville on the mothership. October 9th at Tulane will either be a 7:30 or 8 o'clock kickoff on either ESPN or ESPN2. October 16th, Tulsa, 7:30 on ESPN. The BYU games, we said, has not been announced as a television designation yet. On September 20th, that will be played in Greenville. And just looking through a few things here of where some of those week one games were winding up, and the Pirates wind up on the ACC network. So there you go. Pilk, I think I've covered everything. I didn't cover one last thing, Pilk. Your Carolina Hurricanes out. It's over. This, to me, Philip the Ref Pilkington, was, if anything, embarrassing. Wasn't domination. This was embarrassing for Carolina. I understand this was a year that they were not supposed to maybe make such a run, although there were some that felt like they would. But that was just embarrassing. They were just manhandled.
Yeah, I mean, the first two games especially, really game two, was the worst. And then you just dig yourself in a hole. I thought game three, they came out, they looked decent. Game four was probably the best game they've played in the entire playoffs. And then you get to game five, and really you were probably the better team for two out of the three periods, but you let up 3 goals in a matter of a few minutes, 2 in 30 seconds, and you realize how you cannot win a game in the second period, but you can sure as heck lose one. And I really think that big sequence there, just a bad period. I can tell you they're never inviting John Shire back to sound the siren, because he was bad luck there in period 2.
Oh, he was the bad luck guy. I thought Hootie was doing the siren last night. Darius Rucker, who, by the way,
did it for period 1, and they were up 2-0 after the first period.
Darius Rucker banned me on Twitter many years ago.
Oh. How'd you guys get into it?
Marty, the one-man party of WQDR fame, 94.7 in Raleigh, put something, somebody was in concert and said something, and it was a song that it couldn't have been Kenny Rogers, but maybe it was. I don't know. Couldn't have been, though. But I guess Darius was on a song that originally featured Lionel Richie doing a part. And he tagged Darius in it. As you know, those fancy DJs are apt to do the artists. And all's your humble little correspondent said, Pilk, was, Darius couldn't hold Lionel Richie's microphone. I mean, Lionel Richie's a star. He's an international star. At the time, Darius, people thought he was Hootie. That's what they thought his name was.
Yeah.
Wagon Wheel was just coming out before it started to annoy the nation. And he got really mad. I don't know what he was doing that night. It was like a Saturday night. He got very angry. And then, of course, some of my buddies jump on, and somebody called him Hootie, and it just, devolved from there.
There you go. I would say it's your 15 minutes of fame, but that was your first of 15 minutes of fame.
Am I wrong, though?
No, you're not.
Darius is no Lionel Richie?
No. Well,
tell me I'm wrong.
Very few are.
Right. Come on. Darius Rucker. So, who I understand is a swell guy. If we ever came across each other, we'd probably get along just swimmingly.
I've never met Darius, but I know people that know Darius pretty well, and everybody said he is A+.
Well, don't bring at P-Man on air up. Well, you can't. It doesn't matter, because there he is with me being blocked on there. And I think I checked a couple of years ago, and he still had me blocked. This is years ago.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you this. We'll get to Mike Mullis here in just a minute. We're going to hit a break here in a couple minutes. But I meant to ask you this. You were at the event this weekend, the race.
Yep.
And they had a lot of pomp. But it was the Pete Hegseth, who used to be on Fox and is now the Secretary of Defense. Is that right? Is that what Hegseth is now?
Yeah, I think so. He's some cabinet member, high-end.
Yeah,
cabinet
in
member.
the Trump administration. Yeah, he was the Grand Marshal?
Yeah.
So he did the gentleman start your engines?
Yeah, I believe that's what.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How well received was that, or were you not paying attention?
Honestly, in the infield, there's so many generators and stuff going on, it's a little tough to tell. I would guess pretty good. Trump was there last year and got a pretty good receiving. I will say we didn't have to go through the security that you have to with the president, but there was some Secret Service down in the pits with him being there. I didn't make my way over to the pits, but a few of our friends did. I think my sister went down there for a little bit for the Old Dominion concert.
Wait. Which concert?
Old Dominion was down there. The country
Old
music
Dominion,
band.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Your sister, who just graduated from, she went to the race?
Yeah.
Really?
She likes
she a fan, or
she'll watch it a little bit on TV, especially like Daytona 500 and stuff. But yeah, she likes to go in person. She'll sit in the stands, but she prefers the infield. She likes the atmosphere and the partying and all that.
Wow. All right. I didn't. That surprises me.
Hey,
the younger Pilkington.
Redneckish. We are from Kannapolis originally.
Oh, well, that explains everything. Yeah. That explains so much.
The western half of the state, K-Town, that is.
The western K-Town. All right. I've been meaning to ask you that all week, but we've been at such a breakneck pace. Anyway. All right. Let's take a break.
One more thing.
We'll come
One
back.
more news of the day. I don't know if you saw it because it broke right before we went on the show. Pirates catcher outfielder Jason Janesco has entered the transfer portal.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
Oh, you did?
Actually.
Oh,
yeah, I saw something. Yeah, something last night. And let me just say a quick word on that. Was he going to play with the Greenville team?
No,
CPL team?
No.
Okay, I'd heard his name somewhere previously before that information. But yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Again, I go back to this, and the fact is the guy was recruited. He played here a couple of years. It didn't work out. Doesn't mean that the kid is a bad kid. Doesn't mean that the situation in Greenville is awful. Doesn't mean any of these things. So be an adult, and if you're going to comment on social media that he's entered the portal, and I realize he put it out in the public domain, so it is public, but, be an adult. Don't act like a moron. And just, if you're going to say something, wish him well in his future endeavors. Good luck. Hope it works out for you. There's no need to run the kid down or challenge his manhood. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. We can be better than that. All right, let's hit a break. Mike Mullis will be with Dylan Johnson tomorrow on radio. It'll be at 11:45 airtime here on 94.3 The Game. ECU at Florida in the regional, Conway regional. Game one of that, and the Pirates will be kicking it off. We'll get the thoughts on the series with Mike Mullis when we return.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. You get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
Oh, look who's back reporting for duty.
You got here just in time.
Holy nuts, man.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Couple ranked teams are going to be in this regional. They are, of course, the host team, Coastal Carolina, and number 17, Florida, who the Pirates will play tomorrow as ECU will make their 35th regional appearance, opening up the Conway Regional tomorrow inside of Brooks Stadium. Campus of Coastal Carolina. Let's go down to the Grand Strand where the one and only Mike Mullis joins us on the phone. Mully will be on the air with Dylan Johnson as he joins the radio network for the second straight year in the postseason. Mike, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Doing well. We've got a little weather possibly going to influence some things where they're going to be playing state championship softball and baseball this weekend. What are you hearing or what are you seeing as far as a forecast goes for Myrtle Beach?
I will tell you, I'm glad that what we're getting right now is not forecasted for tomorrow. It rained pretty hard on the way in and still have some rain falling. But what I'm looking at is it looks like maybe spotty tomorrow. There is a fairly high probability, but it looks like kind of spotty showers. And I will tell you, this is, and I know this one wasn't our choice as a team, but this is the brilliance, or in this case, the good fortune of having the early game. As humid as it is and as much rain as falling today, you got to think there'll be a pop-up shower some point tomorrow afternoon. But we'll let the host team and their opponent worry about that.
Mike, are you surprised Coastal elected to play the late game? We know ECU, whenever in that hosting position, likes to play the early game for a variety of reasons. Are you a little surprised that Coastal didn't elect for that?
No, I mean, knowing Coach Snall and kind of, how things are, and it's I think that's another statement on how special the fan base is and the all of the fans will turn out. If East Carolina was going to play at 8 o'clock in the morning, there'd just be, the tailgate would be bacon and eggs and maybe some pancakes instead of whatever may go on in the afternoon. But I think here the thought process is, to get it a little later in the day. There's so many distractions here. You may choose to go to the beach, or it gives you some time to do some other things. If your team's playing that afternoon, then maybe you stop at South Carolina still has the long-standing tradition of happy hour. So maybe you pop in and have a dollar cold pop somewhere and then slide over to the ballpark. So I think Coach Snall was playing for the atmosphere versus the controllability of staying on schedule.
Well, we've got Ethan Norby going against Liam Peterson, who won 8 games this year, a righty-lefty matchup. Norby obviously was just tremendous in Clearwater, Florida for the Pirates in the AAC tournament, starting the first game, fanning the first 6 bulls he faced, leaves that game with 7 strikeouts, and then comes in and pitches Saturday and Sunday as the Pirates claim the conference championship. So what are you expecting out of Ethan Norby, and what are you hearing about Cliff Godwin making some statements that he had a little tightness? We've been able to zero in on exactly what Coach CG was referring to.
Yeah, I as far as expectations with Norby, I mean, for the most part, I'd say 70% of his year, maybe even north of that has been rock solid. We saw a couple outings there, not all that far back, maybe a month or so, 3 weeks ago, that were not Norby-like, but obviously the body of work that he put together after the rest of the last weekend of the regular season, that rest did him well, apparently, going into the conference tournament, because he was obviously lights out. So, the guy from Florida, had an opportunity to speak to one of their local media folks, did a little spot with them today, and man, they love this kid, and they even tout him as having pitched as well as anybody in the SEC, kind of the second half of the season. And Florida's interesting. They stumbled out of the gates, fairly well documented, 1-11 to start SEC play, and then rounded to get to 15 wins, which is remarkable. In a conference like the SEC, with some really big conference series wins there going away. Beating Arkansas at their place, Texas. So, look, they're going to be good. I will tell you, PJ, just my own personal observations. In preparation for the game, I obviously spent some time watching Florida play, and I'll tell you, they are good. They're gifted. They are prolific offensively. They run the bases, but they're beatable. It's the kid that's going, Peters, that's going for them, has a tendency to elevate the fastball. When he gets it up, it becomes very hittable. It's gonna have rod. It's gonna be a high velocity fastball, and I say high velocity north of mid 90s. But it flattens out when he gets it up in his zone, and kind of in concert with that, it's kind of like he loses his breaking ball when that's happening. So that happened to him in the conference tournament. So they don't play great defense, which is very surprising. Of course, they're starting shortstop out dealing with a hamate. So anyway, if we get a Norby to Young kind of outing, where it's good enough or the score is tight enough to bring Young in, somewhere around the seventh inning, then, it's anybody's ball game. I think it's going to be the early innings that are going to dictate the success for the Pirates.
Mike Mullis will be on the air tomorrow with Dylan Johnson on the ECU Sports Network in 94.3 The Game. It'll be an airtime tomorrow of 11:45 and a noon first pitch for East Carolina, number 17, Florida, in the Conway Regional. Mully, the move of Dixon Williams from second to short, then you bring in Braden Burris, which, again, I know there's been a lot of talk over the last week nationally about Braden Burris, and rightfully so. But you look at that move, and that may be one of the things that really sparked what we saw last week in the conference tournament.
It's so funny to me, again, talking with the Florida folks. The first thing that they talked about, or one of the early things, was Braden Burris, and then it was immediately the story, the legend of the walk-on from Snow Hill. I mean, it's taken on urban myth type status at this point. But no, you're right, man. That's obviously checked out to be a really good move, at least in a 4-game sample. And the difference is, I think with Dixon, is that the ball goes in his glove. No slight to Boucher, but it was fairly well documented, and I think anybody that watched saw, the 20 errors and the struggles defensively. Some of them throwing, some of them just handling the baseball. But Dixon gives you a little more stability, maybe not the wow factor on some throws, as Boucher has a markedly better arm than Dixon, but Dixon's going to minimize the bleeding, if you will, keep balls on the infield, and for the most part, again, the ball finds his glove. And then I think the boost to the arm, or the shot in the arm, is Burris at second. And I did stop by practice before East Carolina left town, and Burris was getting some work in his shortstop too. So I don't think they're opposed to that. You have to consider that at some point, Riley Johnson is the one that probably enables Burris to be in the infield, because the Pirates are playing with limited outfield options. So, it'll be interesting to see if they get in a situation where they have to go back-to-back days, or even, a doubleheader at some point, how that affects Riley Johnson's availability, and then what changes are made to still try to give the Pirates a chance.
Riley Johnson, he makes such a difference in the lineup. And we saw what he did patrolling things out in center field in that pro park in Clearwater in the Tampa Bay area. Is he the guy that is the X factor in this thing? I mean, obviously, if you get into a situation where you have a doubleheader, That's going to be tough for him to manage, it appears. Hopefully you avoid that, but still you're looking at back-to-back-to-back days potentially. So his health, I guess, and more, not so much his health as much as his availability seems paramount.
Yeah, obviously him being as close to full go as possible is a huge deal for the Pirates, both offensively and defensively. And yeah, I mean, I do think it's going to be a huge part of the storyline. And it's not supposed to be temperature-wise super hot, but very, very high humidity. And when you're dealing with cramping and hamstrings and things like that Riley's had to deal with, and the struggles that have been so well documented with his upper body, and then trying to fight through it and stay in the lineup, the weather, the environment, I mean, quite frankly, just the excitement, the adrenaline, all those things will play into, to how much Riley can go. But I'm sure, listen, again, well documented. We talk about it all the time. You and I both have waxed poetic numerous times about the exploits of Riley Johnson. He is a great player. Moreover, he's going to go if there's any chance he can go. He's going to find his way in the lineup. I will tell you, I think another big part of the storyline here, PJ, is going to be this ballpark is not very big. It's 390 straight away. I fully expect to see some balls run out of the yard here. Florida does come in with almost 90 home runs, but we know those Pirate bats. We saw it last week in the conference tournament. They have the ability to be explosive at times too. So I think the size of the ballpark is going to be part of the storyline as well.
Well, I was going to ask you, John Collins batted just below 390 for the conference tournament, has a 5-game hitting streak. He seems to have been someone who has maybe appeared to have found a little something. Can that offense from last week at all carry over to this weekend?
I mean, can it? Sure. Do you expect John Collins to have 7 or 8 hits in a 4-game run again? I don't know. It was a welcome departure from a relatively, I don't want to say mediocre. I think that's a bit harsh, but a less than stellar regular season. Not that he had a bad season in any stretch, but kind of spot played and would be in the lineup and show signs of greatness. And I mean, again, I think we've talked about it before in the air. There was, towards the beginning of the season, I think he was like 4 for 4, and he's just banging balls all over the ballpark, and those are all appearances off the bench. So, can it sustain? I think it can. Will it? I don't know. Is it realistic to expect some of the things that happened? Down in Florida to happen? It could be a stretch, but this is when we'll find out. Going into this regional is when we'll know if indeed the Pirates did truly find something, or were they just good enough to be better than competitive playing against AAC competition. This is obviously much stiffer test.
We got Mike Mullis on the line. He's down in Myrtle Beach. A couple more things for you. When we go back and kind of talk about the pitching, Mike, you've got obviously Ethan Norby going for you. You mentioned Ethan Young. Who are some other names out of the pen that you think are ready, or other guys on the staff as far as, game 2 starts? I know a lot of what happens on Saturday hinges on how it all kind of goes down tomorrow. But when you look at it, how truly deep with guys that Cliff Godwin trusts and Austin Knight, the pitching coach, trust, does the Pirate rotation go?
I think it's kind of the big 6. I think it's the 2 you mentioned, and then obviously Peltier and Jake Hunter, and you've got Jenkins and Zayak in some shape, form, or fashion, be it starting or out of the pen. That kind of seems to be the group that along with Williams, that gives you another option. Moran, if you need to go left. So I mean, I think he has some options. I think with the aforementioned kind of big 6, as I refer to them, I think they'll be granted probably a little more leeway than some of the other guys. I think if you see, a Jackson DiLorenzo or even a Moran, or for that matter, Zayak or Williams, I think if they show any signs of struggling, it'll be a pretty quick hook. But obviously understanding, it just can't be but so quick to have a chance to come through this thing. And again, with my conversation with the Florida folks earlier today, they kind of tout they have 6 guys, like that's their, and they feel like that's 6 guys that gives them plenty of depth to do what they want to do. So it's kind of an interesting, your reality is in your perception. You know what I mean? If you maybe their 6 are just that stout, I know that there will be some really, like I said, big velos and good stuff. But maybe as you start to think about it, hey, if you could stay in the winners bracket, stay on the top end of this thing, you probably have enough pitching to survive. It's the challenge of the if you fall into the bottom of the bracket and the loser's bracket, have to fight your way back through. I don't know that anybody is necessarily equipped with enough depth to feel like they're running out frontline guys every time.
Mike, quick primer on the other 2 teams in the regional, the host, Coastal, who we saw this year and went viral for all the right I don't know, maybe the right reasons, maybe the wrong who knows? We just went viral. And then, or we were a part of a clip that went viral. Maybe that's the more appropriate way to put it. And then secondly, Fairfield, who comes in, they're a conference champ, playing a terrible conference, but they obviously are a championship team for better or for worse.
Yeah, I think our going viral in that situation was so little to do with us, and great camera work, I think, is what did it. That's actually I'm meeting our clip co-stars. We're going to meet and have dinner a little later here. But
okay, good.
Just kidding. Anybody that knew the clip knows that. That's not going to happen. But listen, man, the pitching. The pitching is. This is so kind of counter the stereotype for Coastal Carolina baseball. The pitching is the story for Coastal. They are deep. They are legitimately deep. They have 3 frontline guys that are, quite frankly, probably as good as any 3 in the country, including the SEC, ACC, and elsewhere. They really have the one power bat in the catcher. In Bodine, they are built to win these types of things. And I will tell you, just again, in having conversation with their staff, I think I know they have a little chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to feed off this home crowd. And they're pumped about getting started, and they're ticked off that they're a 13 seed. So I think Coastal could be dangerous in this thing. Fairfield is kind of what you would expect coming out of that conference, kind of a well-rounded club that, their ERA is better than respectable. They've got a few guys offensively that are good, solid college players. They're a little bit older of a team, so we'll see how that kind of plays into the picture. Because again, I think a couple years back when Evansville came in here and made such a stink, and some of these teams that come out of these lower mid-major conferences, they've been together. They were kind of maybe, for lack of a better way to put it, maybe a little bit of a land of misfit toys, and they kind of find their groove. And next thing you know, they're in your face, looking, staring you down at the end of it. So should be interesting, man. They all are. As you look across the country, and man, what a great weekend for college baseball, for baseball period, for one of my favorites. But when you look across the country, everybody's got a guy. Even the 4 seeds that are at this point, there's a reason that they're there. They have an arm. They probably have a hitter or 2 that legitimize them. And so it's just fun. It should be a great weekend of baseball again, countrywide.
All right, Mully, have a good call. Enjoy your time down in Myrtle. If you see the great Bob Simon, please say hello. And looking forward to your call and your work there all weekend. As I can, I'll be checking you guys out.
Absolutely. Listen, good luck to you guys. Great call and good luck to the Rose High Rampants and the folks from Perquimans as they pursue state championships, as well as obviously the D.H. Conley softball crowd. And so it should be again, just a fun weekend of ball, of diamond sports, if you will.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mully. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, there he is, the great Mike Mullis. He'll be on the radio call all weekend with Dylan Johnson. And we've got Rose baseball for you coming up 5 o'clock tomorrow. Weather pending, that'll be the time for the Rose game. I'll be there for the NFHS network along with Lynn Hartzell. We'll be on the call. Looking forward to working with Lynn this weekend for both the 1A and the 3A series. And, of course, we'll have it on radio. We'll go over those sponsors again. Speaking of Conley, their head coach in softball is Wayne Deans. He'll join us on the other side. But right now, Philip the Ref Pilkington with the 94.3 The Game Sports Update and Pirate Report. Pilk.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, some news coming out today about the football season and start times for a handful of games, including the season opener, which will take place on Thursday, August 28th in Raleigh when the Pirates travel there to take on the Wolfpack. That will be a 7 o'clock kickoff on the ACC network. The home opener will be against Campbell the following Saturday, September the 6th. That will be 6 o'clock on ESPN+. A few other games have been announced, but we'll just tell you about the home ones right now. The Army game will be Thursday, September the 25th. That will be at 7:30 on ESPN. And a few Thursdays after that, on October the 16th, the Pirates will host Tulsa at that exact same time, and that game will also be on ESPN. Sophomore outfielder and catcher Jason Janesco has entered the transfer portal. This makes the second Pirate as he joins Keenan Bowman in the transfer portal amongst the 2025 team. The French Open, the Americans had a good day, especially on the ladies' side. 5 of them advanced to the round of 32, including the second seed Coco Gauff, third seed Jessica Pegula, and 7th seed Madison Keys. Ethan Quinn was the only American male in action today. He advanced in 5 sets. J.H. Rose alum Tommy Paul will take on Karen Kavanaugh of Russia in the second round tomorrow. That should start at roughly 7 a.m. And the Women's College World Series began earlier today. Texas knocked off Florida in the first game by a score of 3-0. Second game just wrapped up. The Oklahoma Sooners have won it the last 4 years, and they had their backs against the wall in the opening game against Tennessee. The Volunteers were up 3-1 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning when Ella Parker hit a walk-off 3-run blast to straightaway center to lift the Sooners over the Volunteers. There'll be 2 more games tonight. Texas Tech will take on Ole Miss, and then UCLA and Oregon in a battle of former Pac-12, now Big Ten foes. Carolina Hurricanes did fall to the Florida Panthers last night 5-3. They lost that series 4-1, so they will begin their off-season. One NHL game tonight, Oilers and Stars from Dallas. That'll be Game 5. Oilers looking to close out the series. Stars only lost 2 home playoff games, though, so far in this year's playoffs. 1 game on the hard court tonight in the NBA. That is between the Pacers and Knicks. Game 5 from the world's most famous arena. Pacers look to close out the hometown Knicks. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. And take a time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show and talk a little Conley softball on the other side with their head coach, Wayne Deans.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Listen up. He's talking now.
Sorry, thought we were vibing.
The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This weekend, we've got a couple of teams from Pitt County vying for state championships, and one of them a familiar competitor when it comes to the state championship opportunities. D.H. Conley. They're going for what would be a fifth state title here in recent times, and they're coached by Wayne Deans, who joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Coach, nice to have you on. Congratulations on yet another championship series.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's definitely.
You know, this year was a little different because you guys, I think, got off to a 2-3 start. And, of course, you always play a tough schedule, but there were a lot of unanswered questions coming into the year.
Oh, absolutely. We're a very young team anyway, so, to play such a tough non-conference schedule early on and to start the season off at 2-3, and then, immediately after that, our next game is going to be a conference game at South Central, and I think our next game after that was going to be New Bern. So, I mean, we were kind of not looking too great to start off.
Coach, at what point did you feel like, was it after that fifth game before conference started, you felt like you hit your stride, or was there a particular moment where you felt like the team started to really figure it out and put it together?
I would say probably, really and truthfully, I mean, I think when we ended up going Central to start the game. Of course, we gave up a lot of runs too later on that game. But then also, I think we went to New Bern and had a really good game at their place. And I would say maybe the first sort of go through our conference schedule, we started to pick up steam a little bit, and kids started getting a little bit of confidence, and then mixing in a few other non-conference games during that course of time just made us have to be ready. We had to be battle tested, and I think we started to get a little confident.
In late April, you suffered a couple of losses. What do you feel like that your team learned, or what did you learn about your team from those two losses?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of those losses was, if I remember correctly, was Beargrass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're a very talented team, playing on the road, a little bit of a pressure-filled moment, and losing that game. I mean, we were not at 100% player-wise, but, I mean, that's not an excuse. We just, couldn't seal the deal in that game. And I can't remember the other loss off the top of my head late in the season. Wakefield, that was the one. Once again, we were not at full capacity as far as our lineup, but at the same time, you just got to play, and we didn't play very well that game. We just let the pressure get to us, and kind of reverted back to where we started the season, but we taught, really just got them to understand that you just got to just deal with it. You just got to deal with injuries. You got to deal with, bad moments, and just figure out a way to win. And I think they finally started to understand that.
Coach Wayne Deans is the coach of the D.H. Conley Vikings, and they will play this Friday at 6 o'clock at Duke Softball Stadium. And the opponent is South Caldwell, a very good team. And then Conley will be scheduled to play at 2 Saturday for Game 2 of the series, and the if necessary game would follow at either 5 or 8 on Saturday from Durham. So an opportunity for Conley to face a really good team, but also try to notch another state title. Let me ask you a little bit about the playoff run. All the games have been really, really close. What has allowed you all to perform so well in the pressure of the playoffs?
Just communicating better defensively, trusting each other, trusting the game plan that's set for them. And it doesn't hurt when you're getting the job done in the circle and not having to strike out everybody. It's not about, it'd be nice if our pitchers would strike everybody out and then it takes all the pressure off the defense. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it works in the playoffs. And really just the pitchers hitting their spots, giving us a chance to field ground balls, pop flies, and the defense actually things and executing defensively and just knowing to just keep hitting the ball. I mean, you might not get a hit every time, but if you keep putting the ball in play, good things eventually will happen. So, I think just also having a little chip on their shoulder, to start off the season as slow as we did and to play 2 teams that we played early in the regular season, to see them in the playoffs, it kind of gave us a little bit of extra incentive to want to win.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about beating Cleveland. They have had a Division I or II player, a Division I caliber player, or a couple of them is what I mean to say on their team, maybe more than that. Obviously, you beat a very good Cleveland team to get to this point.
Oh yeah, they're a very talented team, and they had 4 the ball and not only just hit the ball, but have extremely great speed on the bases, and was going some. The pitcher's only a junior, and I think she's going to North Florida. They've just got a lot of talent on that team, and they had a lot of speed, which is something that, is not easy to defend. So I think the key is that once again, we had nothing to lose. I mean, we were not expecting to get to that point. There was no vision to start the season that we would even get this far. It was just a matter of just say, hey, be better than we were last year. That was our goal. And we were able to succeed to do that. And then to continue to win, it just was like, okay, we have nothing else to lose. Just keep playing.
You've alluded to your youth. You've got a sophomore in the circle, but Kendall Howard looks like kind of the next in a long line of great players to play.
To step in and pitch in some big games. But this year she's been able to handle that pressure and has really kind of enjoyed it, I think, to some extent. I think she kind of wants the ball. She wants that opportunity. So to only be a sophomore, she has a lot of room to continue to grow, and I think she will.
Good player, too, offensively for you. Who are some of the other players, in addition to Kendall, that have really keyed your team this year?
I mean, Lena Zerfus behind the plate has really done a good job of managing our pitching and keeping them focused and at the same time producing offensively. Ava Gaddis, our shortstop, she has been steady the whole season offensively. Mason Harper Bradley's had some ups and downs, but lately has been really our first baseman, Sarah Booth, has really stepped up and done a great job defensively at first. I mean, she didn't play a lot at first last year. She was mainly DP or outfield, and she's really stepped into first base, and that's her position, and she owns it. We just had other kids step up different times. So, that's the thing I keep telling people. It's not a consistent 3 to 5 players that are producing. We are really good at consistently being inconsistent and who steps up. So it really does vary from game to game who might step up. And
Coach, South Caldwell has had a heck of a year themselves, 30 wins. This is a really good team. And it's a team that defeated Weddington in their regional final. So when you look at this team, I don't know how much you've delved into them at this point as we talk to you on a Tuesday, but when you look at them on paper or beyond, what do you see?
They have 2 really good pitchers, lefty and a righty. Pretty much about the same speed as far as velocity. There are 2 different types or styles of pitching that they kind of bring to the table. I mean, they've got some really strong bats. I think as a team, they've hit maybe over 30. So try to take any advantage of a mistake that you make pitching wise, and they're going to try to launch it over the outfield fence. So we're just going to have to be solid in the circle and try to limit their scoring opportunities.
You're playing at Duke. Has Conley played there before? It seems like they have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we were there in 2022. That was the senior team that we had that, from the beginning of the season, their goal was state championship and nothing else was on their mind. And definitely a much different group back then as far as, they're more experienced than the current group that we have. But yeah, we were there in 2022 and we beat East Forsyth.
That's right.
3 games to do it, but we won.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. And that ball does fly out at Duke. It's a good hitter's park as far as home runs go. It can be a lot of fun. Hopefully, it will not be for South Caldwell, and you guys will be able to maybe get 1 or 2 out of the park there. It's a great stadium, though. When you look back at what you've been able to kind of build here, you mentioned 22 was a very senior-laden group. A few years later, here you are with a team virtually of all underclassmen. What's sort of the common thread of the program that allows these teams to have success, you think?
We try to make sure they understand team first. I mean, I know it's a cliche thing to say, but, we try to create a very much a family atmosphere that when you put that uniform on, you're a part of something bigger. And it's just the team has to come first versus your individual accolades or your accomplishments or your stats. Everyone has a job to do, and it's all about, just doing it for the team. And that's the one else. It's been great because during the season, even in the playoffs, I've had former players come back and watch games. And, that just goes to show you how much, this program means to these young ladies that are currently here, ones that are looking forward to coming here. This program is not just another team. It is a family atmosphere, and that we know we're going to try to hopefully coach the right way and teach the way and have the right expectations for these young ladies.
Coach, what will it take to bring home another championship? What do the Vikings need to do this weekend?
Another cliche thing. We got to score more runs than they do. We got to play as close to error-free defense as we possibly can play. Our pitching needs to not. They got to give us a chance to make plays and, just grit it out. It's one of those things where you're in a series. You just got to win 2 games. Whichever 2 you win, it doesn't really matter. You just got to win 2. So the goal is just to get 2 wins.
Hey, Coach, great to talk to you, and congratulations on another opportunity at a state championship, and best of luck as you take on South Caldwell this weekend in Durham.
All right, I appreciate it, sir.
There he is, Coach Wayne Deans. Best of luck to the Vikings this weekend, and we'll obviously be tracking that and updating it on our social media. So, big weekend at Diamond Sports. We got Conley in Durham playing in the 4A Softball Championship Best-of-3 Series, and Rose at North Lincoln in the 3A Series on 94.3 The Game. 5 o'clock tomorrow. And 11 a.m. Saturday. That 11 a.m. game, depending the outcome of the Pirates, could get moved to 103.7. And coverage of Rose of the playoffs brought to you by the Gavigan Agency, First Bank, the law firm of Hardy, Massey, and Blodgett, Caraway Office Solutions, Wells Fargo Advisors in Greenville, the Tire Realty Group, Greenville Awning and Canopy, Orthopedics East, and Sports Medicine, and Pitt County Schools. Thanks to Mike Mullis. Thanks to Coach Wayne Deans. Thanks to Philip Pilkington. Pirate baseball tomorrow at noon as they take on Florida in the Conway Regional. Listen to it here on 94.3 The Game. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you in the morning on Talk of the Town. And baseball all weekend here on 94.3 The Game.